Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to be your neurodiversity mentor today as we walk through this visual guide together. Listen, if you constantly feel like managing money is just this uphill battle against your own mind, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going completely neuro-inclusive. We are here to build systems that are specifically designed for our brains, rather than trying to force ourselves into neurotypical boxes that, let's be real, just do not fit us. We're shifting the whole narrative today from financial shame right over to financial empowerment. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to really soak in this quote. Your bank account isn't broken. Your brain just processes dopamine differently. So many of us carry around this deep-seated shame, right? We feel like we're somehow bad at being adults because managing money feels so chaotic. But here is the absolutely crucial point. Your financial struggles are largely just a biological craving for novelty and stimulation. It is not a moral failing. And once we can finally strip away that shame, we can actually start fixing the machinery. So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to start by looking at the real ADHD tax, then we'll move into automating peace of mind, stopping impulse buys, divergent brain systems, and we'll wrap up with consistency, not perfection. All right, Section 1, the real ADHD tax, and recognizing the hidden costs of executive function. So what exactly is the ADHD tax? Well, it's those hidden, recurring financial costs that we incur simply due to executive dysfunction, impulsivity, and inattention. Living with high stimulation wiring makes basic adulting incredibly expensive if we don't manage it. It's basically the everyday friction of existing in a world that was built for linear thinkers. What does this tax actually look like out in the wild? Honestly, tell me if you recognize any of these. Treating your mail like it's a scary movie and just not opening it, which suddenly leads to a massive FICO score drop over some forgotten $20 internet bill. Or, buying highly specialized kitchen gadgets at 2 a.m. that you end up using exactly one time. How about buying a literal mountain of fresh spinach with the best intentions, only to let it turn into fridge slime a week later? And sadly, it's completely possible to be a high earner, making six figures, but still live paycheck to paycheck because the chaos is the one driving the bus. Believe me, you are definitely not alone in this. Moving right along to Section 2, Automate Peace of Mind, where we focus on removing our reliance on memory and willpower. Okay, let's get into some highly actionable steps. First up, you need to turn on autopay for literally all of your bills. If you have to remember to manually click pay every month, you've kind of already lost the game. Next, implement a one-app visual strategy so you can sync everything together. And finally, you gotta try the secret bank trick. Have your employer send 10% of your paycheck via direct deposit to a totally different bank. I'm talking about a bank that doesn't even have an app on your phone. If you can't see the money easily, your brain simply won't spend it. Out of sight, perfectly out of mind. Now, look at this glaring number, $180. That is the annual cost of just one forgotten $15 a month Ghost subscription. You know exactly what I mean, that app you downloaded back in January and haven't opened since. I really want to challenge you. Immediately after watching this explainer, go to your App Store subscriptions and just clean house. We have to stop throwing our money at ghosts. Let's look at this comparison. Traditional finance advice tells us to maintain like 5 different spreadsheets. Let's be real, we are never going to update those. The ADHD hack is to use one single visual tracker app, like Copilot or Yenab, to sync the whole shebang and stop that analysis paralysis. Traditional advice says, build a boring emergency fund. But our brains crave novelty, right? So we gamify it by using a high-yield account, making checking the interest actually feel like a game. We literally have to build systems that work with our chaos instead of constantly fighting against it. All right, Section 3, Stop Impulse Buys. This is all about hacking the brain's reward system. Check out the data behind our impulsive urges here. Notice that massive spike on Friday night? Most of our dopamine-seeking spending actually happens when we are tired, bored, or understimulated at the end of a long week. That is exactly when we are desperately trying to self-medicate with dopamine by buying random things online that we'll probably only use once. Just recognizing this pattern is your very first line of defense. Traditional financial advice tells you to just, use willpower to fight the urge, but come on, willpower depletes. Our neuro-inclusive strategy is the 24-hour rule. If you want something, great. Put it in the online cart, but you have to leave it there for a full 24 hours. Usually, by the time you wake up the next morning, that dopamine spike has completely faded, and you'll suddenly realize you don't actually want or need the item. Seriously, it is a total game changer. Let's run through some rapid-fire tactics for impulse control. First, unsubscribe from marketing emails today. Telling yourself, but it was on sale, is a trap. If you spend $100 to save $50, guess what? You still spend $100. Second, credit cards with 24% APR are pure kryptonite for our brains. Use a debit buffer instead. Third, for those big spending categories, actually go back to physical cash. Digital money so often feels like monopoly money to an ADHD brain. Physically handing over those bills makes it real. And finally, order your groceries online. It completely avoids all those shiny dopamine aisle traps at the supermarket. Next up, Section 4, Divergent Brain Systems, where we focus on giving every single dollar a job. Consider the digital envelope method, which was really popularized by YNAB. You allocate specific percentages to needs and savings, but look closely at that 20% slice, the dopamine budget. This is absolutely vital. You literally must set aside cash specifically for impulsive fun stuff. It removes the guilt entirely, and it prevents you from, borrowing from your rent money or totally nuking your savings account when your brain just needs a quick boost. Now, when it comes to paying off debt, pure logic tells you to tackle the balance with the highest interest rate first. But our neurodivergent brains, we desperately need a quick win to stay motivated. That's exactly why the debt snowball method works so incredibly well for us. By paying off the smallest bill first, we get that massive, immediate dopamine hit. And that's the fuel we need to tackle the next one. We also have to talk about overcoming our time blindness. Look at this timeline showing the compound effect. In year 1, analysis paralysis over which broker to use stops you from opening a Roth IRA, mostly because the paperwork feels like climbing Mount Everest. By year 3, missing your 401k employer match means you've literally left thousands of dollars in free money on the table just to avoid a boring administrative task. But look at year 5. Simply setting up a small, $50 a month auto invest can completely change your future. The cost of waiting is massive, but the power of starting small, that's infinite. Real quick, I also want to demystify the HSA, or Health Savings Account, assuming you have a high-deductible health plan. This thing is the unknown hero of personal finance. It's literally a triple tax-advantaged goldmine. So many of us ignore it just because the acronym sounds a bit too corporate, or the paperwork feels intimidating. Do not let a boring name stop you from utilizing this incredible financial tool. And that brings us to our final section, number 5, consistency, not perfection. Focusing on our future selves. First things first, we have to acknowledge a hard truth. Physical clutter literally equals financial clutter. Ask yourself, how many times have you completely rebought an item simply because the one you already owned was lost in a giant pile of unopened boxes or shoved in a messy drawer? Organizing your physical space isn't just about making things look pretty. It literally saves you money by stopping those duplicate purchases. Here are a few final, protective measures for your peace of mind. Create a specific tax folder in January so you aren't living in a 48-hour caffeine-fueled panic come April 15th. Put a photo or drawing of your idealized retired self right on your fridge to remind your timelined brain exactly why saving matters today. And hey, hire a coach or an accountant if you need one. Getting an external body double for your finances is not a failure, it's a brilliant investment in stopping the financial bleed. And most importantly, give yourself some grace when you mess up. Just get right back on the path the very next day. As we wrap up this visual guide, I really want to leave you with this one pivotal question to think about. What is the one automated step you will take today to hack your ADD tax and finally take your power back? You are incredibly capable. Your neurodivergent brain is an absolute powerhouse. It just needs the right operating system. So pick just one small change we discussed today and implement it right now. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep automating, and I'll see you next time.